Game
It looks like he's in like an art studio.
does, honestly.
Huh?
Got all your little craft bins.
Yeah,
This is my grandma's craft studio, yeah.
yeah, it's sick.
What do we got back there? Some butterflies.
Yeah, dude, this is my Lynn Swan jersey. It's really big though.
Hell yeah.
So I've been rocking that. You know, he was once a candidate.
I
For
met-
the Republican Party.
My mom was his campaign manager.
No shit.
Yeah, I got to meet him. I got an autograph by him.
That's he's honestly an absolute legend. Like absolute legend.
Yeah, I think
Oh, is that a Snuggie?
It's like a reverse Snuggie, yeah. Well, no, I guess Snuggies are this way.
This
Yeah.
is my grandpa's hat.
Nice.
Yeah, honestly, I'm off the beer train for a while. You know, I'm on this diet. I'm doing the fucking intermediate fasting and shit.
Sucks, dude.
Yeah, it's terrible. So I've been like you don't understand, like, dude, can't eat anything after like 8 o'clock. I was just sitting here watching Ozarks. I just want some fucking Doritos so bad or some shit.
Yeah. That's when most of my eating is done, is after 8 o'clock.
I know I'm crushing fucking
Get maxed in there, get the Joni on, and then just
yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like I've been drinking a lot of vodka, and it's been good, but it's just like not. I don't know. There's something about drinking beers, dude, that is just
yeah,
the best.
yeah.
switch to the seltzers, man.
You can't get crazy on some vodka.
I do that too. I do the seltzer movement as well. It's just that like I don't like I do that like I do like that like when I'm drinking like all day or whatever. But then after a while, dude, the flavors like you're just mixing flavors. Your mouth tastes like fucking
Yeah.
20 different flavors of gummy bears and
It is kind of sweet to drink a shit ton of them, but I do feel fatter after drinking the same number of beers as I do
Oh,
seltzers.
definitely more bloated.
Yeah.
For sure.
Hunter, you got any input on this?
Yeah. How fat do you feel when you drink beers?
Not very, because usually when I'm drinking the beers, I don't really feel much, you know?
Yeah.
You ever put down like 20 of them or so?
Not on a podcast or anything, but I've definitely I've had my days back at the old Burroughs, which we're all alumnus of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wants to shout out.
Yeah, shouts out to Burroughs. But now that we're all here, y'all ready to kick her off?
I'm ready.
All right.
I'm very
Let's
excited.
do it. This is Bro Football Focus, episode 7. I have the old Jag Snuggie on. I'm going to take it off because I'm getting a little hot, but I am in a basement right now. With me, as always, is Austin. We got Jake. And this week, our honorary guest, who goes by many names. Some call him Jackie Moon. I know him best by Jackie Fettuccine with the long Italian weenie.
That's a good one.
Our guest this week is Jackie Moon, Jack Washington.
Dope the Delta, dude.
What's up,
Thank you.
bro?
Thank you. Great introduction. Very excited to be here. Always wanted to be on a podcast, but never really had the chance to. And honestly, there's not many things that I could talk about on a podcast other than football. So I'm very, very intrigued for the time being.
Well, we're glad that I know I speak for everybody here when we say we're glad that we can make your dreams come true by bringing you on the podcast.
Absolutely.
But I think before we really hop into anything, we should kind of at least give notice to what's going on in the world right now. Pretty crazy, a lot of injustice and whatnot. Again, I think I can say for everybody, we're obviously like a Black Lives Matter podcast. Like that's kind of undisputable. But I don't really want to get into anything specific on it because I don't think any of us here on this show right now are the best people to talk about it. So maybe, another week when we have hopefully a black person on, we can get some better insight. But I just don't think we're the type of people who can talk on it. So
Yeah, that's fair. I do, since we're all here, I do want to give a shout out to Paul DJ Clutch. He's out there fucking on the front lines. He's in New York City, in Brooklyn, just fucking out there every single night protesting. So, and he's gotten arrested. He's been in the shit. Like, he's not getting anything taken easy on him. So shouts out to him. He's fucking putting in work up there. You can follow him on Instagram at IamClutchNYC. Definitely give him a follow and read what he's putting out, because he's definitely doing some work. So shouts out to him. Much love.
Yeah, it's all good stuff. But like I said, I don't think we're the people to talk about it. We can support it. I don't think we can talk about it until we have someone on who lives it. Maybe next week. Who knows? But I'm going to bring some levity into the world. We're going to talk about football. So let's kick off your favorite segment, the Hot 32.
A debatable favorite. I think my fun game is the most favorite, but regardless.
Out in the deserts of Arizona, Cliff Kingsbury has earned the respect of his players. Patrick Peterson compared his offensive prowess to the legendary Hoss Andy Reid, and Kenyon Drake referred to him as a mad genius.
In Atlanta, PFF has named Julio Jones their number 1 wide receiver and number 3 player overall.
In Baltimore, the Ravens are projected to trade Mark Ingram for Titans' 4th-round pick in the 2021 draft.
In Buffalo, shout out to Corey Petrocarlo, just moved to Pittsburgh, Buffalo native, very good friend of mine. But in Buffalo, a video emerges of Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen meeting up to get some work in the offseason. Fire Dap Up. We saw the Fire Dap Up. Is this the new power duo?
Who knows? We might be able to talk about it. But in Carolina, retired linebacker Luke Kuechly is interested in a position as a scout for the Panthers.
In Chicago, when asked about Colin Kaepernick's unemployment, Akeem Hicks took a dig at the Bears' 2017 signing of Mike Glennon.
That was so fire.
In Cincinnati, the Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow says he's staying prepared for the season by throwing to buddies from high school and college and staying focused on learning the schemes and working with Zoom meetings with coaches and other teammates.
In Cleveland, you guys know how I feel about that, but in Cleveland, Baker Mayfield in an interview basically states he has a different approach to this year, saying there's no need to talk about what we're going to do. You basically just got to do it this year. Well, Baker, I hope you don't.
Save it for the discussion, Jack. Down in Dallas, Dak Prescott has pledged $1 million to address racism and police reform.
In Denver, Melvin Gordon says his time playing with the Chargers has prepared him to play in empty stadiums if the NFL chooses to go that way. Yeah.
In Detroit, number 172 overall pick, running back Jason Huntley could be a fantasy sleeper candidate.
The Huntmeister.
In Green Bay, bunch of cheeseheads down there. Vince Lombardi with the fire quote. Dave Robinson, Hall of Fame linebacker of the Green Bay Packers, says on a local radio station that Vince was asked, why is he wasting draft picks on black guys in the first round? And Lombardi says the only colors that matter are green and gold, baby.
Wow.
In Houston, we've been talking about him. Timmy Jernigan, who has signed a deal with the Texans, will now not be suiting up in the red and blue.
Big time Timmy. In Indianapolis, 2019 second-round pick Paris Campbell is widely viewed as a potential breakout player after having an injury-filled rookie campaign.
Some Jacksonville news. Peter King slots the Jaguars at the number 32 spot in his power rankings. That some would call that a cold 32.
Yeah.
In Kansas City, is Pat Mahomes on the hot seat because of a D3 QB and local Monroeville legend, my hometown?
One of two teams in the great city of Los Angeles, the Chargers, 3 of the Los Angeles Chargers have made PFF's top 50.
But what do they know?
They don't know much. The Los Angeles Rams head coach Sean McVay said that he would support his players if they choose to do on-the-field protests, such as Colin Kaepernick.
The Raiders in Las Vegas continue construction on their new stadium despite 16 workers testing positive for COVID-19. Wow.
Jeez. In Miami, South Beach, Dolphins players are very impressed with Tua. Says he looks great. Also, he looks great in a Dolphins uniform. I think we can all admit that.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. It looks like he was meant to be there.
That's what I thought.
In
Dolphins uni is like Andy Dalton in a Bengals uni. It's just,
further discussion, mister. Looks like things are getting even colder in Minnesota because Eric Kendricks and Anthony Barr have denounced the NFL's statement on inequality and say they want to see real change.
big news out of New England. Wide receiver Jacoby Myers is looking to be levels ahead of where he was last year mentally.
In New Orleans, Drew Brees proves himself to be a complete fuck.
That's later.
Go to the great city of New York, the Big Apple, the New York Giants. Saquon Barkley posts another lifting video looking like a rescue hero. Absolute beast, squatting some ridiculous amount of weight. Also, Daniel Jones shows up with better MVP odds than the mouth-kissing, mono-having Sam Darnold.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy stuff right there.
Yeah.
Right across the way, same stadium, different state. New York Jets, they resumed operations at their headquarters Wednesday in a limited capacity.
In Philadelphia, Malcolm Jenkins responded to a certain New Orleans area QB saying, "Sometimes you should shut the fuck up."
In Pittsburgh, Jack's hometown, just a stone's throw away from his crib, James Conner looks like a fucking cyborg with how disgusting his trap game is and how it has gotten even better in fucking quarantine workouts.
In San Francisco, George Kittle, fantastic interview. No free shout-outs, but busting with the boys. Had him on with his dad, Bruce, also Iowa grad, also Iowa football alumni. Talks about how he had to stop drinking and partying so much at Iowa to take his football games so seriously.
Wow. Pacific Northwest over in Seattle, Pete Carroll said the public owes a tremendous amount to Colin Kaepernick for raising awareness about police brutality and racial oppression by taking a knee during the playing of the national anthem before NFL games a few years ago.
In Tampa Bay, Rob Gronkowski suffered a devastating defeat as WWE superstar R-Truth snuck up behind him and dethroned him of his 24/7 championship title. Gronk was the longest reigning 24/7 champ in WWE/NFL history.
Wow.
Well, in Tennessee, if the Titans were to sign Jadeveon Clowney in the free agency, he would have a familiar relationship with Mike Rabel, having worked together in Houston.
In Washington, the Washington Redskins, the R words. Is it the boldest move of all time in sports history to speak out on racism with the most racist name in the history of sports?
That was sure a hot 32, maybe the hottest 32.
It was spicy. Es muy caliente.
Yeah, muy spicy. But Jack, as our honorary guest, what do you want to talk about? Can't be Steelers, as you know.
I know.
As an avid fan, you know.
I'm looking at this.
Oh, I'm
looking at, and I think I kind of want to talk about all the terrible quarterbacks. Not to get into any racial injustice or anything, but just in general, football speaking. Chicago, Mike Glennon over Colin Kaepernick. Is that like come on?
Yeah, and I also think Mike Glennon got not only was he bad, but he got a really sick deal, like
oh yeah,
$1 million for 3 years or something.
So Mike Glennon's not in Chicago anymore. He's in Jacksonville now. But I do agree that there are plenty of backup quarterbacks in the NFL that I think Colin Kaepernick would do a way better job.
That's what I feel as though. I feel as though Kaepernick went to a Super Bowl, has actual playoff experience. Like, if you had him on your backup roster, there's like not many quarterbacks in. Who's the quarterback? Chase Daniels. He's made like $25 million over his career and played like, I don't even know, maybe 10 games, and he's probably sucked in every single one of them.
Josh McCown is a backup somewhere. Blaine Gabbert is a backup somewhere. Like, and it's not like Colin Kaepernick was bad in the Super Bowl.
No,
like
I mean, he's a good player.
Kaepernick was good, but his last 2 years, dude, he was not doing very good. He was like bottom of the league.
That's true. Not doing well.
Categories.
The 49ers were on the down. They were on the down spiral.
But also, he was offered contracts by somebody, but he turned them down because it was not enough money. They probably were just offering him like a pity contract just to say they did.
Yeah. But do you think he's going to be offered more spots now that this has been addressed?
I think.
And everyone's kind of like, hey, sorry. Do you think someone's going to be like, hey, you know what?
I think the quarterback position's gotten so saturated. You got like fucking Cam Newton in free agency just sitting there.
That's true. That's true.
And I think it's just like there's just not that many spots.
Honestly, I think Colin Kaepernick, I think he was a great player. You know, he did what he had to do. I completely agree with whatever he's preaching or whatever. But at this point, he's got a Nike contract. He settled big with the NFL. You know, like, why the fuck would he go out and get fucking head injuries and get hit by large men? Yeah, like, I'd just chill. Right. If you want to fight social injustice, you're probably the focal point because you actually made a stand. I would honestly maybe just roll with that. Like, it seems as though that nowadays, like now in this time, his opinion is becoming more popular anyway. So, I mean, dude, if I was him, I'd roll with it instead of freaking playing quarterback in the NFL. You know, I don't know how much his Nike deal was, but I know it was a ton.
Yeah, and I feel like at this point with the NFL teams, like every NFL team plus the NFL as an organization this past week has put out statements like equality, blah, 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 blah. So at this point, if anybody signs Colin Kaepernick, like everybody's just going to be like, oh, you're cool with it now. What changed, guys? It's the popular opinion now, so now you can do it. So it's a strange situation.
Yeah.
But I just think it's really funny that Akeem Hicks went straight at Mike Glennon, dude. It's just
out of nowhere, dude.
It's so funny.
Mike Glennon looks like a turkey vulture. But Jake, what do you want to talk about?
I went first last time.
Austin, what do you want to talk about?
I mean, I really wanted to hear this news about Patrick Mahomes and his beef with the D3 quarterback.
I know nothing about that.
All right. So, yeah, you guys wouldn't know anything about this. But, so my best friend, Riley Walker, shout out to him. His little brother, I'm also very good friends with Brady Walker.
Wait, was that the guy we saw him play in like a high school game at Edinburgh?
Yes. Gateway High School legend, Gateway quarterback, has more career passing yards nationally than Patrick Mahomes. I think he ranks like 94, and Patrick Mahomes is like 96 or 97. So, is he on the hot seat? And he plays for St. Vincent, local Catholic school up in Latrobe, PA. But yeah, I had a great weekend with my friends. We went to a nice lake house in Indiana, and we were just talking about that the whole time, how funny it is that he has more passing yards than Patrick Mahomes. So he might be on the hot seat. I don't know.
Who knows? Only time will tell.
With the contract that he's asking for, you might have to throw the kid in, dude.
I know. Yeah. Honestly, Brady also too. The thing was, at Gateway's offense at that time, very small line, great outside weapons. We had a very good run game, but it was all outside the tackles basically. And he was just like read option or, RPOs and just like throwing it all over the field. Like, it was amazing to watch. Like Cerny came with me to the Gateway championship game, It was an insane environment. We had a great party after because Gateway actually won. Underdogs actually won. And he scored the first touchdown, and we probably had a section of like 50 people, and we just went absolutely berserk in Heinz Field, because that's where it was played. So definitely some great moments there, and took them all the way to the state championship to play some Catholic school from frickin' Philadelphia that recruits and has absolute monsters on their team. But
So real quick before we jump to Jake's, I just looked up the Chiefs roster, and speaking of teams with bad backup quarterbacks, Chad Henne is currently backing up Patrick Mahomes.
The Henne Meister.
Like,
I didn't even think he was in the league.
I didn't know it was either, dude.
if Patrick Mahomes, like, his knee goes into his thigh again like it did last year, I wonder how Mr. Henne's gonna do.
Back in like Madden 2011, the picture for Chad Henne looks exactly like Bull. Yeah, we should get a graphic up on that if we
Listen,
can.
after the Hot 32, we have a Bull update. So
Real shit though, I looked. That was a funny one for me, was throwing in Brady Walker's name in there. But I also was looking up Kansas City Chiefs headlines, and a lot of people were posting their offense. Dude, they are going to be so nasty still next year. There's just absolutely no way. I was looking at their roster, like
They didn't really lose anybody.
Exactly, and I don't know. It's going to be scary.
They got Clyde Edwards-Helaire now, so
yeah.
they got better, dude. If anything,
I just feel as though you have a guy like Patrick Mahomes, really can do it all. Never really seen anyone throw the ball around like him with those receivers that most of them are running like under 4.5s.
and everyone's gonna be zoning in on Sammy Watkins after he revealed that he can telepathically communicate to people, and so
Yeah, and not to mention keeping big old stinky Chris on the D.
yeah, big.
Tyreek Hill also said this week he has 1% body fat.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's
1%.
possible, but,
He said that's what he claims.
I believe it. Tyreek Hill's never lied.
If you look at his body composition, where it says the following items are less than 1%, it just says body fat.
Yeah.
He's shredded.
Exactly.
Jake, what do you want to talk about?
I would like to, and I think this might be the first overlap of favorite team news, but I want to bring up the fact, because there was a question if Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen is the new power duo in the AFC East. I think absolutely. Like, I still, to this day, from the moment I saw Stephon Diggs is going to the Bills, I think that was the best movement of a player in this whole preseason.
wow.
I think the Bills, out of every single team, have lucked out the most with who they got, because I just really think that Stephon Diggs is going to do super good in Buffalo. I mean, I think they're going to be a top team. They're probably going to beat the fucking Patriots.
I'm sure Stephon Diggs will do well. He will run very crisp routes. He will be open a lot.
Yeah, and just the hype to come, like his personality and aura going into the Bills Mafia, like that is just going to be two forces combining, you know.
Austin, you're a Bills guy. I know you like both these dudes. What do you think about Stephon?
Well, you saw what happened with John Brown. He was like the fourth receiver on the Ravens, goes to the Bills. Josh Allen's just force-feeding him. He has the best year of his life. I think Josh Allen's going to start directing those targets to Stephon Diggs. And if you look at Stephon Diggs' like stats last year, he was pretty high up there in yards, and he had like 50 less receptions than everyone else in the top 10. Like Mike Thomas had like twice as many targets as him.
It's about the yak, dude.
Yeah, I think Josh is gonna be giving him good targets. What's going on there, H-Dog? You got a ghost or something, dude?
Do you hear that noise?
Yeah, you'll be all right, dude.
I think someone just flushed a toilet up the stairs. I bet it was Huffy.
You're in the basement?
But I want to preface this whole thing by saying I'm the number one Bills player hater. I don't think Josh Allen is going to accurately get Stephon Diggs that ball. Stephon Diggs is going to be open, but Josh Allen's just going to be throwing it like 3 to 5 yards away from him.
I mean, he's going to miss a few, dude. He'll miss a few. He's not the most accurate. But he'll get it there, dude.
If they have a Fire DAP connection, they're probably working on that right now. They're working on
was
bugs,
fire.
spider webs.
Yeah.
This is the year Josh Allen really throws on the big boy pants and he hones in that accuracy.
The BBPs?
BBP.
Yeah, I think that was a great move. I think it was similar to what the Steelers did. I don't mean to bring it back to the Steelers, but to absolutely certify a need that they had. Like we needed a defensive back there, like a ball hawk, like Minkah Fitzpatrick, and we gave up a first-round pick for him. And I was completely fine with that because it completely changed our defense. I really do think that Josh Allen is better than what people think. I just love the kid's attitude, like going into games. I think he's a gamer. I think he really loves football. Like he loves to compete and shit. Like, I mean, you see this kid fucking jumping over people, fucking hurdling people. What quarterbacks do you see him do that shit in the NFL, dude? Like you could break your neck doing that shit.
Yeah.
Like he wants to compete. I think he's embraced Bills Mafia. And I think Stephon Diggs has been looking because honestly, Stefanski, you can say what he wants, what they want, how good of a job he's done with, Kirk Cousins or whatever. Now he's with the fucking Browns. I hope they implode or whatever. But Stefanski, like, you have Stephon Diggs. I get that you had Thielen, but there were certain times where you watched Vikings games last year and the kid was just not getting the ball, dude.
Yeah.
And he's a playmaker. And he is great in the open field, making guys miss. He's not just a deep ball threat. He's got great lateral motion in the open field. I really do think that's something that the Bills really need. And then exactly like you said, John Brown, best year ever he's probably ever had last year. Put him in the slot, see what he can do. I'm sure he's great in the slot too. He's a number one wide receiver last year, and he was picking on everyone.
Yeah, dude. As far as the other, like, AFC East, like, QB wide receiver combinations, like, you got what, like, Ryan Fitzpatrick or Tua, whoever starts, and Devontae Parker. The Patriots don't, like Stidham and Edelman, dude, old Edelman. And then
Stidham, and I really do like N'Keal Harry. I think he's really good. I just think he was hurt at the beginning of the year, but he's not going to be the same if you can't get him the ball when he's open. That's just
it's going to be a hard adjustment. I mean, these guys have been playing with Tom since they started. So it's going to be a hard adjustment.
And I feel like definitely it's a super probable move that just sweeping under the rug, under everybody's nose, like right before the season starts, Belichick signs Cam Newton, and the Patriots are just like right back on top.
Yeah,
that would be fucking awesome.
That doesn't surprise me at all. But okay, so we went through all those. The Jets definitely drafted someone this year, right? Who the fuck?
They took Denzel Mims from Baylor.
Yeah, okay, he's definitely. But
and the Jets have Joe Flacco now too.
I mean, yeah. Dude, the thing is that I honestly think Darnold is pretty good. And
good.
I think just like how I think Daniel Jones, I think a lot of these guys, these newer age quarterbacks are pretty good. But dude, you give them no hope when you go with dude, I don't understand how Adam Gase is still fucking getting jobs in the NFL. Just absolute shit experience, doing shitty jobs. And then he's drafting Sam Darnold. I mean, they have horrible ownership. They have Le'Veon Bell. And then they have no one to throw it to. Who the fuck is Sam Darnold throwing the ball to?
Robbie Anderson.
Well, he's gone now too.
He's on the Panthers.
He's on the Panthers.
Dude,
he's kind of hard, honestly, but
Yeah, you're right about what's that coach's name that you just mentioned?
Gates, dude, crazy eyes.
Yeah,
Gates.
So he was on the Broncos when they were loaded up with talent, right? And
yeah,
then
he went to the Dolphins and he fucking ruined them.
He ruined them, and the only reason he got any clout from the Dolphins was he beat the Patriots because Gronk was at safety.
Yeah, and you see he sniffs smelling salts on the sideline and shit like a psychopath.
He definitely does.
Honestly,
He was coked out on his Sign.
He can't even get a hold of his own team. He just said, honestly, I love Le'Veon Bell at the Steelers. I still think he's a great running back, but he openly said that they didn't want him. Like he basically said we don't want him.
And that's another crazy
contract, all the shit. Like what the fuck is that?
That's another crazy thing that he's doing all this bad stuff and having a terrible track record. Not only is he the head coach, but he's in a Belichick role to where it's all the decisions are Adam Gase's, and that it doesn't make sense.
Crazy eyes. You can't trust that fucker with those crazy eyes.
No.
I think I might try to get into some smelling salts here soon.
Yeah, for sure. But what I want to talk about is Detroit. Saying the number 172 overall pick, Jason Huntley, could be a fantasy sleeper candidate. So the Lions, for the past 3 years or so, every single year it pops up. The Lions running back is going to be the dude this year. Last year it was Kerryon Johnson. Before that it was Amir Abdullah. And they're always poopy butt cheeks every single time. They're never ever good, but they're always the sleeper.
DeAndre Swift. Why would it be this guy?
Do they have Swift?
Yeah, did they draft him? They got him,
drafted
Johnson. I'm not touching the fucking Lions, dude. No matter what.
Yeah.
I'll draft Kenny Golladay, dude, in the 5th round. But I'm not.
I don't know, but I read somewhere that this dude is going to be a sleeper candidate. Maybe he's going to be the receiving back. I don't know.
I was honestly pissed when I saw that. Background story. My sister went to the University of Georgia. I have several uncles that went to the University of Georgia. So, I like Pitt and Penn State, obviously, because I'm from the PA area, but I also like Georgia just because I like to see a different SEC team compete in that. I was fucking pissed when I saw that DeAndre Swift went there, dude, because they are just kings of fucking ruining people. And, I honestly think Kerryon Johnson, he was in college, great running back, and now he goes to the Lions, dude. I just think that they don't know how to develop players. They've never had a good line. They've never had a good offensive line. That's just proven. Fucking Matt Stafford gets murdered every single year. He gets murdered. And then the ball off
the best spine.
Yeah. Their offensive line is always
terrible. Retired at 30 years old after fucking running behind the worst line for 10 years.
Barry Sanders literally is running around for his goddamn life, dude. Just killing it.
Doesn't Barry Sanders also have the most negative yardage in NFL history?
Dude, if you watch his highlights, he's running backwards, reverse of field.
Dude, they've had think about it. They have arguably top 5 running back in the history of the NFL, Barry Sanders, and then top 5 wide receiver, maybe Calvin Johnson. Let's say top 10.
Oh, you want more?
No, I'm saying Calvin Johnson's at least in the top 10 of wide receivers.
Calvin Johnson's top 2 for me.
Okay, top 5. Okay, we'll go for you.
Yeah,
those two are that high in the talk of at their positions, and they're just well, fuck this, dude. I'm done with playing with the fucking Lions, dude.
Has Matt Stafford ever even been to a playoff game?
I don't even know. Probably not. And he's fucking good. Yeah. He's actually good.
He throws for 5,000 yards every season. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
They never relevant, dude.
A little fun fact about Matt Stafford. Hunter actually has a picture of Matt Stafford throwing a hot dog into his mouth. It's pretty sweet.
It's true.
It
might be on my Instagram. We can dig it up and pop it on.
Wait, he threw a hot dog into your mouth?
You'll see. You'll see when we load it up.
That's fucking sick.
But
since that was about him being a sleeper fantasy pick, and I know it's kind of far from fantasy and we don't want to give up all of our game plan, but who do you guys think is going to be a good just one good fantasy player that may not be obvious to everybody else?
Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Rookie or just in general?
Just anyone. Who do you think that you can rely on this upcoming fantasy season?
I think honestly, and this is not even bias, I really do think that Eric Ebron is going to be a really solid tight end this year because we're going to be running the 2 tight end system. I really think he's going to get a lot of touches. And rookie-wise, I don't understand. Like, I don't give a fuck who's throwing the ball for the fucking Dallas Cowboys. CeeDee Lamb has to be up there for that.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, who I'm not taking is Michael Thomas after his beef with Drew Brees.
Yeah, that's no good.
I love the transition, but we have a thing before the Drew Brees news.
What's that?
We have a bull update.
Oh, yeah, I'll drop it on us, H-Dog.
So, as loyal viewers of BFF, we know one of your favorite things is Jake's brother, Bull, Brandon Phillips. Not an hour before we started recording, Jake's dad, out of nowhere, sends me a picture, and I want to share it with you guys right now.
My God. What's
And
on his head?
it's like some sort of hat, and my response was, "It looks like he ate Where's Waldo."
That
Dude,
is
he looks Middle Eastern with that beard.
His titties are on the side of his body.
They are. Yeah. But so that was the quick important bull update that we all needed. Now
You need a weekly bull pick, just like
Yeah,
doing
absolutely.
Titties are on the
So in this crazy world we live in with all this injustice and whatnot and flag kneeling and inequality, I believe Yahoo Finance was interviewing Drew Brees, and they're like, yo, has your opinion changed at all on this whole flag kneeling and inequality and whatnot? And he's like, he didn't say anything about the injustice, nothing about the inequality. And his first response is, hey, my grandfathers fought in World War II, and I think of them, and I would never disrespect the flag, and blah, 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 blah. And then the whole NFL just kind of shat on Drew Brees because you kind of have to just open your ears at some point and listen to people, and understand that in no way when people kneel are they disrespecting the anthem or disrespecting the flag.
Or disrespecting his grandfathers.
Yeah, or disrespecting his grandfathers. If anything, they are standing up for what the flag and what the anthem mean, and that is freedom and pursuit of happiness for everybody. And they're just using their platform to show that. And if you don't see that, like, you're a big dum-dum, Drew Brees.
Yeah, and I mean, especially being in his position, I get it. Your job is to play football. But so many people look up to these guys like they're heroes in people's eyes. Like, you have to take into consideration all the people that listen to you and your influence, even if you're like Drew Brees or what. You still have to take that into consideration. And I mean, like, deserves the flack for sure.
Yeah, I don't think Drew Brees, meant wrong. He definitely didn't have any malice or anything. And he's done a lot for the city of New Orleans. Like, after Katrina, he went in there, kind of rebuilt the program. He donates millions of dollars to charities and different, things to help disadvantaged people there. But it definitely shows like a lack of awareness by Drew Brees in this case, which is crazy because Drew Brees is like one of the like smarter and more outspoken guys in the NFL. And for him to like not realize that would, be a bad look on him, like to his teammates, even like all his teammates are tweeting like shit that they're like kind of pissed about it. Like, that's crazy. He just didn't see that coming.
You can be a smart person, you can be a good person, and you can still be like completely tone deaf about certain stuff.
It's
Yeah, like if you grow up with a birthmark on your face like that, you probably aren't very integrated in social situations.
Also, a quick aside on Drew Brees, this is in no way a Drew Brees slander show, but apparently back in the day, Drew Brees did like an ad for like a gay conversion camp, like where they send gay kids to get scared straight with Jesus.
Get scared straight.
Yeah, so Drew Brees might be just a low-key stinker, and we might not know.
I was looking on Twitter, like the Austin area community like is all tweeting about it, and like Westlake is like in Austin there's like no middle class. There's like super poor people and like super rich people. And Westlake is the richest area, And apparently, like at their football games, like when they play LBJ, which is like an all black school, they have like nooses and stuff, and they fucking their shirts are like white, wealthy, winning, like crazy stuff. And I'm looking at it, and like kids from their school are tweeting it, like I'm ashamed to go there and stuff, and like they're talking about like how the schools are like there's this crazy disparity. And I'm like, oh, dude, I had no idea this was going on, but like. Drew Brees is probably coming from like that kind of area, and he might not be like a racist person, but he definitely didn't grow up in like an area where you'd be aware of these kinds of.
Yeah, for sure.
My personal opinion on it is that like the movement that people are talking about, it's not supposed to be disrespectful for the flag. It's not supposed to be disrespectful for the anthem, and it's not supposed to be disrespectful for the military. Like when you say those things, you're just making it about something other than it, like that it's not. It's just not. And if your name's fucking Drew and you're a white dude from I don't even know where the fuck you are from, like you probably don't have a very good knowledge of the overall perspective. So you should probably say something that would empower people instead of saying the thing that is probably the most controversial. Like, come on, Drew. Like, everyone likes Drew Brees. Everyone does. Dude, my mom fucking loves Drew Brees. We always talk about how everyone loves Drew Brees. It's like, dude, like, it's the biggest softball question to hit out of the park, just saying, like, hey, I respect the movement. You know, there's definitely certain things about, you know, I feel a certain way about the anthem. I don't agree with kneeling for the anthem. But if that's how the way that they want to protest and different things like that, then I stand by them. Just say some shit like that. It's so fucking easy. Like, that's what bothers me about these people, that they don't think that, like, it's so hard for you, like you're the ultimate patriot, like that you went to war and shit. Like, I get it, dude. There's tons of things that are going on in the world. I respect the military more than most people, I'm sure. But when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, these issues that the African American community are talking about, especially these predominant African American voices that have actual voices in these large sporting like arenas and different things like that, where people feel like they actually matter, where they get more to just other than the Black community. Like, you should support them. Half your fucking team, more than your team, is
More than
Black.
that.
Just be smart about it, Drew. What the fuck, dude?
Also,
Come on.
how do you explain this, Drew Brees?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying, dude.
Is
So
that
you
the anthem? Right?
Yeah, you do it then with your boys, but then, 4 years later or whatever, you're like, no, I don't do that. That's disrespectful.
Austin, what school did you say had those shirts?
Westlake in Austin, Texas.
So this right here, via Google, NFL Super Bowl MVP Drew Brees is a native of Austin, Texas, and graduate of Westlake High School. So you hit it right on the head there, Austin.
What do you mean? Didn't he say that?
You just brought up the fact that like they have that. It's in general. You didn't know something was going on.
Yeah, but he
Unless I
said Drew Brees
misinterpreted
went
it.
there.
Did
That's
you say
why
that
he was
there?
talking about them.
Okay, I thought you were just bringing that up randomly. Then I misinterpreted it. My apologies.
Yeah. No, but honestly, like that's what like people don't understand, is that like we're not, like, you saying that you're kneeling in silent protest for police brutality and like to be peaceful, and then you saying that it's disrespectful to the military. It's just like apples and oranges. Like a person from the military told Colin Kaepernick to do that. I don't, like, yeah, would I go fucking kneel for the national anthem? No, I probably wouldn't, because the national anthem means something different to me than it means for African American people. Like, they don't give a fuck about the national anthem. That's what Aaron Foster was just saying on Part of My Take, the podcast. Like, he doesn't feel invigorated and wants to stand up and cheers to patriotism. He doesn't give a, like, dude, they get fucking harassed. It's just a different perspective. And like Drew Brees, out of all people who I really think is an educated person, and I don't think I just think that he probably should have thought more about that before he said it. That's just like straight up it. Like think more before you speak. That's what most white people in that situation would do. I've said dumb shit about it too, I'm sure. But like that's just my personal opinion.
Now, I think since we're just on the topic, the so Vikings, and it was brought up in the Hot 32, but I do think we should just talk about it really quick. But Eric Kendricks tweets, just kind of like it was tweets at the NFL calling him out, saying things like, and this is a whole tweet thread. You can go on and look at it. Eric Kendricks 54. It says, what actual steps are you taking to support the fight for justice and system reform? Your statement said nothing, pretty much saying that the NFL is built on black athletes and just making a statement isn't enough, which I mean is true because the largest percentage race in the NFL is obviously black players. And plus, the Vikings are going out there and working with their local government to try and figure out how they can help influence just political reform and actual plans to help out all these issues going on. And the NFL has billions of dollars. And, I think, and I agree, the NFL should put money towards a good cause and actually try to make a difference rather than just a statement.
Well, yeah, I mean, they could do a ton of stuff. Like, I know the NBA, put together, a coaches coalition of people of, all different races to see what they can do to fix issues in the NBA and whatnot. But, yeah, I just think right now, even though it is, a really important thing that's happening, this is kind of bigger than the civil rights movement in the 60s. But big corporations, all of them right now, even though it is 100% the right thing to support, they're still hopping on for clout, in some cases. Like the NFL, for these past 4 years or however long it's been since the Kaepernick stuff, silent on the issues, and then as soon as it pops off and as soon as you're bad unless you talk about this, they talk about it. That's a bad look. So totally agree that they actually need to do something and not just be like, hey, we support you. That's great. They should, because that's the right thing to do. But they should do something.
See, this is why Bull said he wants to see you in the commissioner position.
Yeah.
Hunter's man of people.
That shadow government, dude. Hunter will seem like he has good intentions, and then he's making backdoor shady deals.
I do make backdoor shady deals, but that doesn't mean at the end of the day the good intentions aren't met.
Trust me, I love the NFL more than anybody, but the thing is,
yeah, sorry, Emily, Jack's family.
Yeah, I love the NFL, but the thing is that they are kings of just dropping the ball, just like I said with Drew Brees, just dropping the ball when things are easy. There should be more black coaches in the NFL. And now they're proposing some shit where you get an extra third round pick or all this shit, if you hire a black coach, or a black front office person or whatever. It's just it just makes you seem so out of tune with things that are going on. I don't necessarily think that, all the coaching staffs and everything have to represent the amount of NFL, like the amount of African American and minorities in the NFL. It doesn't have to be 70% black coaches or whatever, but there's just not enough. And it's not because they're unqualified, and it's because we have these rich white people, old billionaires, that they feel as though they want to make decisions for themselves. There's certain things like that. The Rooney Rule has been in place for so long, and it's continuously been broken throughout the history of the NFL. They catch teams breaking it all the time, and then no one gets in trouble for it.
No, so you'll have to fill me in on what that is.
So the Rooney Rule is basically that you interview. So for whatever coaching position, I believe it's any coaching position that you hire, that you have to at least interview or contact one minority out of all of the groups of people, correct?
Yeah.
That's what I believe it is. And it's like, it comes up all the time in these new head coaching hires. Well, they violated the Rooney Rule. Then what the fuck is the punishment? No one does anything about it.
Yeah.
Like, they continuously do it. And then now they're talking about, like, oh, if you hire a black coach, you get an extra third-round pick. It's like, yeah, I get that. Like, I understand that that's how the NFL thinks.
It seems very gimmicky.
Yeah, exactly. It's
they
gimmicky.
denied
You should
that.
just do it anyway. You should just do it anyway and not be a dickhead.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? That's just how I think.
I think the thing for picks didn't pass though.
No, I know, but I saw that and I was just like,
Yeah,
dude.
no, it's stupid. Like, inclusion absolutely should just be a thing. I don't think. I mean, another tough issue, but
Definitely don't think you should like try to force or incentivize it. Like I think it'll kind of naturally
Exactly.
happen. Like Mike Tomlin is setting a great example, and then you got like Brian Flores just came in and he's kind of turning the Dolphins around already. The Bills named Leslie Frazier to their like assistant head coach position, so like it's definitely moving forward from what it was.
I just think it's funny how the NFL, like, they do these things like, hey, we're not prejudiced at all. And then they do these other things where it's like, look at this stupid shit they're doing. It's obvious that they're prejudiced. Like, it's so comical, like, almost. It's comical that they think that they're being like, oh, we're not racist now, or we're not prejudiced because we said that you could get an extra third-round pick. We're proposing this, but it's like, well, then you let all these people violate the Rooney Rule. It's like, well, like they're just not on the same level of thing. Like, can you just have some level of consistency? It's so ridiculous.
yeah, I think it's been known for a very long time that Roger Goodell is kind of a shithead. And speaking of
Robot.
Real quick before you get into that, I need to take a Peepsies.
Pittsburgh?
Yeah, it's bad.
Honestly, it's just unbelievable how constantly these easy questions for us whites come up, like to Drew Brees, and they just fumble it. Like, it's like unbelievable. Like, even if you don't think that way, can you please just say something? Like, because I mean, obviously, I feel as though all of us feel that way.
Yeah,
But this dude,
It does feel shitty to be a white guy sometimes.
it's a fucking home run hit, and you just like fucking fumble it.
I mean,
Get it.
think
Strike
about
out.
this is Drew Brees last year. He's about to ride off in the sunset. He's the all-time leading passer.
Yeah, he should have retired last year, Austin. Exactly.
He's got nothing to lose, dude. Maybe he wants to go out as the villain.
As the controversial guy.
Big guy his whole life with all the kids in the Super
Will
Bowl.
Drew Brees go in the Hall of Fame as a New Orleans Saint or a racist? That's the question.
Ooh.
that is a good question.
Maybe he'll do one more year with the Redskins.
You're
Who knows? But back at it, peeps break over. This week, we talked about it a few weeks ago or last week, I can't really remember, but Dave Portnoy won the NFL's charity auction to go watch a Monday Night Football game with Roger Goodell in his cool little basement with his M&Ms.
Man cave.
Yeah, his man cave. And $250,000 bid. And as many suspected, Roger Goodell said, no, Dave Portnoy, you're not coming to my house, because allegedly he failed a background check.
Yeah, so they brought up the fact that he sat in with Hank and I think maybe Feidelberg and one of the other guys, waiting to have a meeting with them, gets removed from the building when he said he would talk to him, brings up the posting Tom Brady's kid's wiener, bring up that, and they brought up something else. But it's pretty much like
he got removed from the Super Bowl as well.
Yeah, pretty much. If you just watch anything that happens on the Barstool documentary, that's what they brought up. It's like their dudes just did the most minimum amount of research of dirt. And they're like, yeah, just throw this shit at him.
Yeah.
He's a fucking fuck. He's a little pansy, soft serve bitch.
Yeah, not to harp on the issue or to beat a dead horse, but I feel like this is just another example of the NFL being tone deaf. Like, obviously, Barstool Sports is this huge, big thing. If Roger Goodell had any sense of humor or like self-deprecatingness about him, he would be like, "Oh yeah, these guys are going to give me a whole new audience." Blah blah blah. Why not? Like nothing bad is going to happen. You can make it the most controlled thing, and at the end of the day, like you don't have to
That's the
post
thing,
something
though.
about it or do a video.
He's a little earthworm fuck, and he can't handle the easiest of situations when he's able to type responses and have like time to think about it. He knows, he's like, there's no way I'm gonna be fucking alpha by this dude. I'm gonna be made to look like such a fucking stupid fuck. Like I can't even respond when I have time to think about it, let alone
You can look at it from that
fired off live bullshit.
or you can look at it like Dave Portnoy makes a living off controversy and kind of, you know, doing this kind of stuff. Roger Goodell has all the power. He sets his own salary. He makes the rules. He literally does everything, dude. He pays himself $40 million a year.
That's sick.
This
Yeah,
is like,
that would suck.
It is kind of crazy how NFL is straight up dictatorship.
I mean, that's any, you know, corporation.
I mean, he doesn't really have to pander to anybody, dude. He's got all the power. He's got everything to lose. Like, he's not going to take a chance and get exposed on fucking TV.
Still, like,
In my personal opinion, I can't believe it took him that long to figure that out. Like Dave was fucking ripping on it, like 3 weeks ago. And then Roger Goodell's like, oh, like he's like short circuiting half the time, dude. He's like a fucking robot, dude. He's so weird. You see him at the fucking draft, dude. He's so fucking weird, dude. Like his mannerisms. He's like, you know, like this is my TV. Oh, go fans. Yeah. Like ruin these fucking people on like such a weirdo. Like,
listen, I mean, after like pick 20, he was sauced. So
he was like just reclining.
I don't know if he might be on drugs. Like, I swear, dude. He's up in the TV screen. He's like, come on, I can't hear you. Like he's the fucking dude.
If you haven't seen the South Park episode where they talk about Roger Goodell being a robot,
yes,
it's a good watch.
Dude, he is literally a fucking like, I don't know, cyborg or something. There's something going on with him that is just out of the norm.
Maybe he's
just like, maybe he's just so self-conscious, because I really do think he's like super self-conscious that he just like can't get out of his shell. But like everything on that draft night of him being in his man cave, which honestly, if I'm the commissioner of the NFL and I have a fucking man cave, I'm making $40 million a year.
It'd be a little sweter.
Yeah. What the?
It was so shitty, dude.
That looked like my semi-wealthy uncle's man cave. Fucking nerd. Ball out, you pussy.
Yeah, semi-wealthy uncle, dude.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Put a fucking big screen on the wall, have the fans cheer, and stop being such a fucking weirdo. Like, it's just so easy. He
that
is
man
literally
looks like
the easiest person to make fun of ever.
I mean, Jack, he's got PTSD from dealing with all this CTE bullshit and Ray Rice and Colin Kaepernick. Like, he's got real issues on the table.
Yeah, but $40 million a year can patch that wound real quick.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, maybe that just shows how much of a schmuck he is like his man cave where broadcasted the draft. It looks like he's in a neighborhood that's like half a mile away from like a Whole Foods.
Yeah.
Like,
it looks like his wife set up that man cave. Like, hey, Roger, like, you know, you can't have a super cool man cave.
Yeah, set it up in like 2005.
Other neighbors, and we don't want to think that you're too cool. So here's your man cave. It kind of sucks, and you look like shit when you're sitting up there with your fucking sweater vest or whatever. Like,
so
it's a terrible man cave.
To put this in perspective, $40 million a year is $109,000 a day.
Yes.
Or like every single day. He could buy the Scarface mansion, dude, and just fucking be posted up in the Scarface chair with a big mountain of coke in front of him. fucking watching the games,
I'm
dude.
saying,
And he's,
dude, honestly, for him to call that a man cave, dude, is borderline ridiculous, dude. I've been in way better man caves than
but
that.
Jack,
and
maybe
these
he doesn't want the
make
people to see
maybe
his,
$100,000 a year.
he doesn't want the people to see his real setup, which is behind the camera. He's got this little fake. I'm a modest person. I don't make $100,000 a day every day of the
Sits on
year.
his gold throne.
Yeah, dude, he's probably got it going on like behind the camera, dude.
Yeah.
And his wife is
Oh,
definitely way too ugly.
He
For
turns the
$14
thing and it turns into this like robot disco and they're all like freaking just jumping.
And he turns it on, loosens up the tie, and just fucking goes to town with
Yeah.
his boys.
To be fair, they probably got married before he was like a hot shot.
Well,
Now he is.
a senator or something. He's always been.
That much money, he can say, all right, I want to stay with you, but just so you know, we're going to have 4 Instagram models around this house serving me fucking ketchup on my eggs
Yeah, dude, if I-
every day.
True.
I'm
Dude, he
fucking
probably
doing-
puts ketchup on his pizza, dude. He's a fucking weirdo.
He probably puts sugar on his fucking spaghetti.
Listen,
He's
I
a
think-
fucking weirdo.
I
Like,
think
there's no way you could watch that shit and watch that draft and be like, yeah, this guy, he's one of the boys. Yeah.
this is the first time I'm dishing out this stamp of approval, but I think we can officially stamp Roger Goodell as a BFF nerd.
Yeah.
Nerd.
for sure.
Yeah, Roger Goodell's a nerd. But that's enough for Roger Goodell. I want to get in
publicity right now.
to the whoopsie of the week.
Yeah.
Slide
Big time
whistle
whoopsie
sound.
here.
So this week's whoopsie, I'm sure everybody has been in this situation. A friend gives you a call and says, "Hey, I'm moving. Can you give me some help?"
Ugh.
This week, Henry Ruggs got that call from a friend, and he said, "You know what? I'm a nice guy. Sure, I'm going to help you move." I don't know the exact details, but in the midst of the moving, Henry Ruggs is pinned in between something and the moving truck and gets something jabbed into his leg, and it is like an inch away from an artery that is going to kill him. Like, you're dead. Yeah, whatever. If this
Is
thing
that real?
Yes. If this thing gets punctured, you are dead. And at the end of the day, Henry Ruggs, you just signed a big check, buddy. Pay some burly dudes to help your friend move.
Who the fuck is making Henry Ruggs move his shit before the NFL season?
No, it's not
Fuck
Henry
that
Ruggs' stuff.
guy.
It was a buddy who Henry
That's
Ruggs was
Jack
helping.
saying, like, who's this buddy who's like, you know,
Yeah.
Henry Ruggs, dude, he's fast. He can move my shit quickly.
Now, according to Henry Ruggs Jr., his daddy, he said that he was like lifting something off of the trailer, and the trailer had moved, and that's when it happened. But he also said that he wanted to give his son medical privacy, and left it at he's doing okay now.
Yeah, he's fine, but like something was punctured inside his leg.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, with the check he just signed, he could have just lit all of his friend's stuff on fire and bought him new stuff.
So yeah, if
He's
you're
probably
rich,
just step
like
over this.
when quarterbacks and people sign contracts, it's like in their contracts that they can't even like play basketball. So I don't know who missed the "don't help your friends move" clause, but someone messed up.
I think a good rule of thumb is if you're signed to the NFL, don't help your friends move. And if you're helping your friends move, don't also play in the NFL.
Yeah, or like know how to use a parking brake, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm so confused on how that shit happened. But like, Henry Ruggs, dude, you are the golden boy. I'm not helping any motherfuckers move.
Yeah. I mean, and he probably wasn't.
I'll
even-
buy you a fucking couch. I'll buy you a fucking $10,000 couch before I help you move.
But
Fuck that.
so injury, not even talking about the injury, Henry Ruggs was not faster than this truck.
No.
No, the truck got him.
Yeah.
Flipping. And if you don't think some of these big nasties are going to be digging their fingers in his leg hole, then you're out of your
In
mind.
his wound, that's
JP
probably
gonna
not healed.
be getting his little nub claws in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude.
So he got punctured. Like, I mean, obviously we won't know what it is, but what could he got punctured with? Maybe like a pin from the trailer or something like that.
I'm going to say, when
I
Through
mean-
your leg. Why is Henry Ruggs doing that shit? Like, come on.
When Jason Pierre-Paul blew his goddamn hand apart, dude, he posted a picture on IG like the week after. So Henry Ruggs needs to let us see what's going on.
Yes.
See,
Also, Ronnie Lott cut his finger off mid-game, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So honestly, whatever.
Just give us a peek at the wound. That's all I'm saying. There's
Yeah.
nothing going on.
I'm definitely interested. So that was the whoopsie. Jake, are you ready?
I'm born ready. So, yeah, time for the fun game of the week. This game is everyone's top 3 favorite Super Bowls. Who goes first?
Okay. My third. And I don't know, it just popped up in me right away, was when Philadelphia beat the Patriots in 2018. I know it's recent, but I had to pick it because I was with the boys in college. We were having a great Super Bowl party. It was a great Super Bowl party. Had a lot of fun. And it was just an incredible, incredible Super Bowl that honestly, none of us thought that the Philadelphia Eagles were going to win. We were bullshitting that whole time. I just remember thinking, I hate the fucking Patriots to a certain extent, but I was also trying to convince myself well, Philly's good enough. And then I'm thinking no fucking way they're good enough to beat them. Started out with the Philly. There's all this bullshit that happened during the whole game. And it seems that that's the Patriots. I'll give them credit. They always put on a show no matter what it is. The Super Bowls are usually entertaining. But that was a great one. Big Dick Nick throwing it down as a fucking backup. Are you shitting me? That has to be one of the most impressive Super Bowl victories of all time with fucking Nick Foles. After Carson Wentz, he was going to be the MVP that year, most likely. Had a fantastic season. Got his knee shredded diving into the end zone like a psycho. It was just perfect. Scumbag Philly ruins the fucking city. They have fucking buddies riding on the Rocky Steps. It was just absolute chaos.
Jack, how many people got tear gas?
People eating horse shit off the ground. Horse shit. And then it was like right now, as a riot, they were breaking into Wawas, throwing fucking bricks through the window.
Yeah, that's just
for no cause other than the Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl. You gotta respect it at some point. Very great moment for the whole city.
Nick Foles had one of the most magical runs I've ever seen. Once he filled in, Carson Wentz was on fire, dude, and then Nick Foles didn't miss a beat. He was
and then he pulls the old Tom Brady trick play, little run into the flat end zone dump, the exact play the Patriots ran earlier in the season, and they just didn't pick it up at all.
They weren't prepared for that BDN energy.
Yeah.
Better.
That's a good pick. That was my number 4, in case somebody took my 3.
So at my number 3, and this one, a lot of people, don't look at this as a good Super Bowl. But I got the Seahawks versus the Broncos.
That was my dishonorable mention.
Yeah. So I was a big fan of the Legion of Boom coming up. And as a Bills fan, we're never in contention. So when I saw my boy Marshawn get traded and right when the Seahawks were turning around, I wanted him to get a Super Bowl. And during this game, dude, it was just offense versus defense. Peyton Manning just joined the Broncos. They had Welker, Demaryius Thomas. They had a pretty sick offense, but the Legion of Boom came to play. And fucking Joe Namath came out for the coin toss, sauced out of his mind. As soon as they handed him the coin, no one called heads or tails yet. He just threw it. The ref made like a game-saving catch and said, "Hey, Joe, wait for someone to make the call." Joe Namath is in like a furred coat that looks ridiculous. And
Absolute legend. Also, Beaver Falls resident, Pittsburgh native, dude.
is he still living there?
No, I'm sure he lives somewhere sweet. But he's awesome.
Jack, real quick, what are your feelings on Dan Marino and how the Steelers would have drafted him if people didn't put out there that he was a coke addict?
Well, honestly, when I heard that, first of all, I didn't know that. And I forget who we drafted over him, which was a piece of shit fucking player. It was ridiculous. He probably would have had actual Super Bowls with the Steelers because we would have built around him because we actually know how to build around star players. But yeah, that was ridiculous. First of all, my dad's best friend, Tom Flynn, Penn Hills native, also went to Pitt. They were roommates in high school. And Dan Marino definitely was a fucker. Like, he definitely partied and shit. But he wasn't a fucking drug addict. That's what, like, they disparaged him for going out and having fun kind of deal with. And then they also equated it to, like, well, this kid's a fucking drug addict. Like, they even said in that Elway to Marino thing that Art Rooney had the Pittsburgh police looking into him being a drug addict. It's like, dude, you think the Pittsburgh police know if fucking Dan Marino's blowing a couple lines on the weekends? Fuck no, dude. It's only the bitches that he's fucking do. Like, dude, they don't fucking know that shit. Like,
the Steelers drafted defensive tackle Gabriel Rivera.
Yes, and that was supposed to be a good pick, and it absolutely blew up in their face. He got into a terrible car accident, I'm pretty sure, and, like, almost died or some shit, and never played again.
Wow.
Seriously.
Do you think that news about Marino was just a smokescreen to drop his draft stock?
Yeah, that's
no. I really don't think. I really think that everyone knew Marino was good. They thought Elway was the number one.
Yeah.
And Elway was doing all that fuck shit anyway, trying to get out of. He did not want to be with the Colts. And it was like Marino dropped so low, which was ridiculous. Like if you watch that documentary, like, these people that got drafted above him, it's absolute insanity because he didn't have that great of a senior year, but he was the if not Elway, he was the best player by. And then, like, they basically, it was like the Reaganomics, like, war on drugs kind of thing. Like, oh, this kid might have smoked weed, he might have done a bump in his life, and they're like, this kid, like, he can't be an NFL quarterback. He ended up being great. Like, he ended up being fantastic. Didn't win a Super Bowl or whatever. He's kind of a dick too, but he definitely should have been in Pittsburgh, dude. There's no way he shouldn't have been.
If anything, it should have raised his draft stock, after what Michael Irvin and Lawrence Taylor did. But,
dude, those guys were insane. And first of all, my dad's friend, Tom Flynn, on the New York Giants, when Lawrence Taylor was there, confirmed insane Lawrence Taylor was. Insane.
I mean, you have to be a killer to be that fucking good. Especially back during the
murder. Those guys partied too. It's like back in the 70s when the Pirates were winning their World Series. Those guys partied so hard. They didn't take care of their bodies. They were fucking natural athletes. They didn't have the information like they did now. It's way different. Like, it's way different. Yeah,
athletes just look different back then.
Yeah, we're getting off subject, but that's how I feel about the whole thing.
I think Dan Marino is the best quarterback to never win a Super Bowl, and
100%.
he is
100%.
He's the best athlete in Nutrisystem commercials.
Yeah. Dude, that's what's so shitty is that he went to Pittsburgh Central Catholic. He chose to go to Pitt. Steelers passed up on him. Unforgivable. Unforgivable.
Right. Jake.
All right. My number 3 favorite Super Bowl is Super Bowl 45, Packers v. Steelers. This is my favorite just because this was the first Super Bowl that I watched when I actually started paying attention to football. Or that I remember watching at least. I mean, I've watched them all, but I don't really paid attention. But Bull big time Steelers guy. My dad, big time Green Bay guy. So there was a divide in the household, and I was just loving the back and forth because the Bull, my dad, drama is always intense. But also, they were watching it in separate rooms, and I didn't understand at the time that some TVs have a delay to each other. And my dad was calling out very specific plays, like, I bet you this is going to happen. And then it would happen, and I shat a brick for probably like 10 minutes. And then I finally caught on. I was like, oh, damn. Okay.
Dummy.
But yeah, so that's more of just a personal, reason for that. But yeah, that will be my number 3. Sorry, Jack. I know that one probably.
No, that one hit me to the core. That was fucking brutal. We had several chances to win that.
It was a close one.
So, Jake, I kind of have similar reasons for my number 3. It's the first Super Bowl I remember like sitting down and watching. Wasn't always a football fan, but this was like where I was getting in. Super Bowl 42, the helmet catch. David Tyree.
Dude, that was on mine.
Yeah, well,
but yeah, that might be the greatest Super Bowl play of all time. Just play.
But just the fact that the Giants are like these huge underdogs, Patriots are trying to go 16-0, looks like it's going to happen. And then not only does the helmet catch happen, but like before the catch, Eli Manning looks like he's going to get sacked. He's basically on the ground. Then he just
Eli Manning's like Michael Vick in that play. It's unbelievable.
Chucks it, not even looking. David Tyree pins it. Austin, do you know the safety that was on David Tyree on that play?
Rodney Harris or no?
Rodney Harrison, right?
Was it? I can't remember, dude.
Rodney Harrison was in the play. I know that.
Whoever it was, I saw an interview with them on like NFL Films or something. It was like a countdown, and he's like, "I've gone over that play 1,000,000 times in my head, and I know that there is nothing I could have done to make that play not happen."
I know Rodney Harris. He's catching the ball. Rodney Harrison is behind him. I don't know if it was his guy or whatever. I don't know if the safety was supposed to pick him up. But Rodney Harrison like comes over and is trying to hit the ball out.
Yeah.
And he hits it. And he like keeps it on. I watched that live in my house, and me and my dad were like, "Oh my God, he caught it! He caught it!" Like it was unbelievable.
David Tyree really Eli Manning. Like no stage is too big for him, dude. Like you're against the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl. You're fucking Eli Manning, dude. David Tyree is not the best receiver in the world. He like somehow shrugged off a couple dudes and just launched it and made one of the greatest plays, dude. He doesn't really back down for anybody.
Very funny thing about this is that I was watching something on the David Tyree catch. The practice leading up to the Super Bowl, they said David Tyree literally couldn't catch a cold. They were throwing the ball. They have film of it, just him just dropping everything. And then he catches that. No shit. It was really funny.
Dude, Eli Manning's been on the throwing end of some pretty sick catches, like fucking OBJ. Like I bet he's got a sick highlight reel, Eli.
Yeah. For sure. If we ever do a top catches list, I think undisputable that OBJ one is probably the best. Like the one that made OBJ famous, you know?
Yeah.
I think that one's up there.
But
the Lynn Swan one.
Yeah, immaculate reception, whatever. You're up. What's your number 2?
Me.
Wait, Hunter, did you just go? Was that yours?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Number 2. 2006 Super Bowl, Pittsburgh Steelers. Coming in as a 6 seed, Jerome Bettis in his hometown, Detroit. Oh my goodness, was that against the Seahawks? Fast Willie, 75-yard touchdown, still the longest rush, I believe, in Super Bowl history. Freaking Hines Ward with the catch from Randall L. Just honestly, an incredible season by the Steelers because we came in as a 6 seed. We're not expected to win. Like, grinded it out. Indianapolis, brutal fucking game. Like, just going back and forth with one of the greatest of all time, Peyton Manning. Like, Jerome Bettis also fumbled on the 1 yard line. Do you guys remember that? He fumbled on the fucking 1 yard line in the AFC Championship game, and they almost ran it back for a touchdown. And Roethlisberger with his sausage fingers grabs this dude and tackles him at the 50-yard line. And then Vanderjagt misses another fucking field goal. I think he missed like 2 field goals.
I do remember that now. That if Big Ben was an inch slower, he would have gotten that fucking tackle.
Absolute incredible run to the Super Bowl. People talk about the refs and all this shit. Bullshit. We beat Seattle. We deserve to win that championship. Honestly, it was just such a great season. My first Super Bowl as a Steelers fan that I got to witness, and really Jerome. My biggest thing about it was Jerome Bettis. He really deserved that Super Bowl. Like that's just how I felt. Like he really did deserve that. He stayed an extra year. He was gonna retire. He stayed an extra year, and they got him to that. And it was just. It's like a fucking Cinderella story. They win it in his own city and shit like that. Like, you don't make shit like that up. So awesome Super Bowl for me personally, at least.
That's a good one, Jack. That's a good one. So for my number 2 here, this was one of the first Super Bowls that I saw when I first started getting real into football. And it's the Saints versus the Colts.
Oh, that's a good one.
Good one. Like it's right after Hurricane Katrina happened. Like Sean Payton and Drew Brees rebuilt the franchise.
Bounty system?
The bounty system was in play. And, I believe both teams were undefeated up until week 11 or 12 or something. Like their offense
great teams. Both great teams.
Popping off. They had Manning versus Brees was just legendary. And then they had Dwight Freeney, Robert Mathis, the Colts had. And dude, just some of the players Jeff Saturday under center, Reggie Wayne, Pierre Garcon, Austin Collie, just a real
Edgerrin James.
And then for the Saints, dude, Reggie Bush and Pierre Thomas were a sick duo running back core. Marquise Colston, Lance Moore. But dude, just the balls on Sean Payton as soon as the halftime ends, dude, to kick an onside kick.
Onside kick, yeah.
Onside kick and get it, dude. That blew my mind. That was one of the greatest.
Did Steve Gleason, do you remember him, ALS guy?
Yeah.
Did he have that? Was that a block punt? Did he have that in that game? Or was it NFC Championship? I don't want to misspeak, but
I don't know.
Yeah, I can't remember that specific play.
But I do remember one of the cornerbacks from the Saints. It was a famous one.
Tracy Porter.
Intercepting the ball, touchdown, basically to end it.
This was Peyton Manning was leading a comeback drive to tie go ahead. And Tracy Porter just fucking iced it, dude. 70-yard pick six.
Yeah,
so that was one of the best Super Bowls that I've seen in my lifetime. But yeah,
that is a good one. I have not seen that Super Bowl. I might have to go back on the old film vault and take a look.
Take a peek.
But Jake, what is your number 2 Super Bowl you have seen?
My number 2 is Super Bowl 47, Ravens 49ers. This is the blackout game.
Oh, that's good.
That's a good one. The mass confusion was just great TV. But one of my favorite and this got to think, this is prime time deer antler spray Ray Lewis.
Psycho.
This was Ray's last game.
Yeah.
Yeah, so lights go out. Second half. Jacoby Jones takes back the fucking kickoff.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
He was an absolute animal that no one talks about.
Insanity.
This year,
longest scoring play in Super Bowl history. that shit was fucking awesome because everyone
He
was
was
so
an absolute animal.
like,
When
what the
Joe
fuck's going
Flacco
on?
was borderline elite and just bombing him to Jacoby, and Jacoby was returning kickoffs like every other week. He was just
Dude, and he was big, dude. He was a tall, lanky guy. He wasn't like a small speedster return guy that you normally have. Like he was like a taller, lanky guy.
That Ravens team was fucking incredible.
Yeah,
Ray
absolutely.
Lewis, Ed Reed, Jacoby. Like, there's so many fucking players.
Terrell Suggs, Haloi Nada.
Yep.
In
I
that,
the Niners were sick too, dude. They had Pat Willis, Bowman, Aldon Smith in his prime, who was looking like a Hall of Famer.
yeah.
Hittner, fucking LaMichael James.
Michael James, Kaepernick, fucking who was their receiver? Wasn't
They had Randy Moss, dude. They had old ass Randy Moss.
who was
Michael
the other one?
Crabtree?
What's his face?
Yeah, I think Crabtree's on that team.
Someone with an A. Bolden. Did they have?
Anquan Bolden, yeah.
Oh,
They had
was
Anquan
on the
Bolden
Ravens,
too.
wasn't he?
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
used
I
to
think that was
Ravens.
good
Yeah.
Super Bowl, electric, different circumstances than other games. Big plays, big players. You know, it's a good one.
You have the Joe Flacco MVP at the end where he's like, I'll get a fucking truck. And I will say the most memorable thing for me about that Super Bowl was the McDonald's commercials where Colin Kaepernick and Joe Flacco were taking turns doing like crazy trick shots with footballs. Like they weren't real trick shots. They were like, super edited. But it was like, oh, can you hit it off the rafters and blah, blah, blah. And they'd win some
yeah.
kick
Yeah, that was a
or
good
something.
commercial. I do remember that, Hunter. Now that you say that.
Maybe that'll have to be a game. Best Super Bowl commercials.
Ooh, that's a solid game. My number 2. All right. So, Jack, I don't want to take this one away from you. Is 43 on your list?
Yes, yeah, it is.
Okay.
But you can
So-
take it.
No, I'm not taking that from you. You're a Steelers guy. So I'm gonna say 49. The Malcolm Butler interception
Oh, that was
to seal the deal. Like you have all the media stuff with Marshawn Lynch beforehand, and just like that game-ending play where Pete Carroll decides to toss it up instead of letting Marshawn run it like less than a yard, and Malcolm Butler just like checks the dude, catches it, game over.
Yeah.
Iconic moment.
Yeah, that I think was the dumbest play call in Super Bowl history.
It was definitely the most like jarring play I've ever seen in my life. Like,
Yeah, I mean, everybody was like, "Oh, they're gonna give it to Marshawn,"
It
and then
was
it's
just
like,
so
"Oh, the
easy.
defense is gonna know they're gonna give it to Marshawn," and it's like, "Oh, they actually didn't." Like you definitely just should have done that.
Even that play though, like when you're on the goal line, dude, that quick slant on the goal line. Like my favorite play on the goal line is play action, tight end in the fucking flat, make the linebacker bite, put someone out in the position to make a play. Like you are putting him in, you're putting this receiver inside against the like it was just asinine to me. Like, you know, either run it, call the timeout, run it, spike the ball, but you know, the inside slant on that goal, it's like that's like a fucking Madden call.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It really was a bad call. Like a lot of people just don't understand. I mean, if you look at, I mean, I feel as though I know a decent amount of football. It's just a bad call.
I mean, you don't even have to know a lot about football.
Yeah.
Like that was just a simpleton move.
Malcolm Butler just bullies Tyler Lockett. Like he
Did he
walks in front of him and just push him out of the way.
Said Tyler Lockett, you virgin, give me that ball.
I saw a video on YouTube of like the week leading up to the Super Bowl, Belichick working one-on-one with Malcolm Butler, like on this specific situation. Like if they get to the red zone and they're on the 1 and we run this formation, like there's no way they'll run it. They'll check to something and they just have like the same exact play, dude, carbon copy. Like that's how crazy Belichick is preparation-wise.
Yeah.
He, like all this shit down.
Jack, I hate that I may have spoiled it, but what's your number one?
All right, so 2009, Steelers, Cardinals. I remember the preparation. We beat the Ravens for this to go into this game. Huge win. We go in, unbelievable team that the Cardinals really had, even with the grocery packer, Kurt Warner, who's an absolute legend, was fucking packing groceries before this shit and just played out of his mind. The Steelers, dude, like we were watching, really had it, dude. Like James Harrison, it's just my personal opinion, best play in Super Bowl history. Definitely the best defensive play in Super Bowl history, where he intercepts that ball and takes it 100 yards for a touchdown. And he was not a runner. Like, he's an outside linebacker.
He was just 280 pounds of muscle, dude.
Yeah.
He had no gas. Like,
Season.
for him, that was all heart, that run, dude. Like, he was on the gas.
In that play, if you watch it, Deshae Townsend is trying to get him to lateral the ball to him. He goes the whole way down the field.
Yep.
And the person that tackles him in the end zone is fucking Larry Fitzgerald, another Pittsburgh legend who I love. And he made that game close. He had a big part of making that game close. And then Big Ben to Santonio Holmes at the end of the game just to seal it. Like, honestly, like, as a fan, you watch those games and you want those moments. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, you hope your team goes in there and just beats the fucking shit out of the team. That would be great, you know. But when you're in those moments and your team actually performs and actually makes the plays, it's just unbelievable. Like, I don't even understand how to explain that feeling. I was at my best friend's house with my whole family, his whole family. We're watching this TV, and Ben throws that ball to Santonio. And, like, we like, literally could not believe it, like, how real it was and all that shit. Like, it really just is an incredible thing to have your team win a Super Bowl. I've got to see 2 of them. I'm very, very lucky. And the first one seemed a little easier when we played the Seahawks, even though we had a really hard schedule going up to that. But the Seahawks at the end there seemed that we were the better match for them. But that game, the whirlwind of that game, because the second half, it looked like we had no chance. Like, it looked like that the Cardinals had it. Like, that they had something on us that we did not have. And to win it on the last play of the game like that, it's undescribable. Like, you just dream of that shit as a kid, like, to see your team do shit like that.
That was the first Super Bowl I think I've ever watched, and I had no idea what the fuck I was watching, dude. But, like, when Big Ben threw that pass to Santonio Holmes, dude, that's when I realized, like, you need a fucking saucy quarterback to take the league.
And
dude.
that's what he was good at. And that's the thing, like, Big Ben, he's no Tom Brady. He's not Drew Brees. He's not these student of the game guys where, you know, I'm sure he knows a shit ton about football. I'm sure he studies. But he's not one of those guys or Peyton Manning's. Like, Jay Glazer just came out with a report that his idea of working out during the offseason is doing some yoga, golfing 18 holes, and then having a few beers after. Like, Tom Brady is literally not eating anything and fucking working out and, like, being a psychopath about football. Like, it's just not Ben. And, like, you can say what you want about him. It's just an incredible thing when you see your guy out there. He, like Aaron Rodgers, just making plays. He just makes plays, makes things happen. And for him to step up in the biggest moment of his career, it's obviously the biggest moment of his career, and deliver, I'm telling you, we were going nuts in my friend's house. We could not believe it. Especially with Santonio Holmes. Absolute legend, dude. He's still making money off that catch.
I'm hoping Jonathan has one of those plays with Stephon Diggs this year in Tampa.
I don't know if it was ESPN or NFL that hosted the interview, but they were doing just like legendary players' favorite plays, and that was James Harrison's favorite play. And he was saying that like the assignment was to like control that outside gap and edge. And he's like, I just have a feeling they're going to throw it in the flat. And he's like, so I'm just going to kind of float out here a little bit more before the play starts. And he's like, yeah, Kurt Warner just looked at me. And he's like, I just didn't even realize it was happening. And all of a sudden he threw the ball, and I caught it. And once I caught that ball, he's like, I was fucking gone. Like, I didn't care who it was. Nothing he was saying. He's like, the dude's trying to have me pitch it back to him. He's like, there's no way in hell I'm letting go of this ball. I don't care who you are. And just fucking – it was incredible. It was definitely incredible play.
Returned it, hurdle guy. And if he does not do that, the Steelers do not win a Super Bowl. It's just plain fact. And it's the longest play in Super Bowl history. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
That was definitely one of the top Super Bowls of all time.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
For my number one,
awesome. Okay.
I originally had the Harbaugh, the Ravens 49ers, but Jake stole it from me.
Well, that was a good one.
So I had to go off the cuffs here and do the Falcons and Patriots.
Oh, that was my number one.
Yeah, I off the top of my head, I just remember watching it with Hunter in the basement of Joe's Crab Shack, dude. And
that should be everybody's number one. Like, I think indisputably that's like the best, most exciting, biggest butt clencher Super Bowl.
And I hate the Patriots, but I just remember the Falcons being up big, and Hunter was like thinking the game's over, and I'm like, Hunter, this is Tommy B, dude.
Okay, Austin, that's a lie. I never once said that they were out of it. I was chanting Brady Magic that whole game, so you're a liar.
You remember correctly, I turned you on to the Brady Magic, dude.
Maybe so, but I did not once say that they were out of it.
I think you were thinking the game was over, dude, and I said, Hunter, there's a little Brady Magic.
I'll be honest, I thought the game was over. Like, not over, but I thought that the Falcons were going to win.
So what had happened is – 28-3. Falcons were up. Halftime comes. All the boys are at the trap. Wi-Fi goes out.
Yes.
So everyone's fucking around. Time's going on. Game is confirmed. Second half. Still can't watch it. And old B Hall, he says, watch, guys. We're missing the greatest comeback of Super Bowl history right now.
It came up, and they were down by a touchdown.
Jokingly, and then all of a sudden game comes back on, and it fucking happens.
Yeah, they were by the time we got on, they were down by a touchdown, and then they just absolutely fucked them.
Yep. Yeah, all was in order there.
I just remember the Julian Edelman catch. This is another one of the greatest catches of all time.
Fucking right at the bottom, and then fucking boop, boop.
Julian Edelman, like, he may not have the physical gifts, but he is one of the greatest receivers when it comes to
the play where he levitates the ball.
Yeah, like, what the fuck, dude?
He's a gamer for that. I fucking hate his guts, but fuck, what are you gonna say?
Yeah, he's good.
That's the only jersey I own is a Julian Edelman jersey.
Yeah, he's a great player.
Yeah,
that's me holding Joe's hand, watching the comeback happen.
Short hair Hunter.
Yeah.
Back in the day, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Jake, do you have a number one?
I mean, that was my number one. And my backup was taken out.
We might have to rework this where we can have the same ones.
Nah, it makes it a challenge. Life can't be easy. I'm going to say this most previous Super Bowl. Again, it was a pretty good comeback.
Patrick Mahomes is cool.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes is cool. Fucking
Jimmy G's really good looking.
Yeah. Good in bed.
Kittle's a great dude, great entertainment. And the halftime show was pretty good.
Halftime show, probably the best halftime show ever.
We're
controversial.
We're also gonna have a top 3 halftime shows, but my favorite part was the the Shakira. That was my favorite. I was watching it on a plane on my phone in this like taxi thing, and then in a hotel. So it was a little bit spotty for me, but I still was able to watch it. It was pretty good. It was entertaining. I was not let down.
All right. I also had to think a little bit on the fly for my number one. But for my number one, we are actually going to go with Super Bowl III. Jets Colts. This game, the Jets came in as AFL guys. People thought the AFL was not competitive. They came in, proved that they were. Fun facts about this game. Rumor has it, Joe Namath made a deal.
Unitas?
What?
Is Johnny Unitas on the Colts?
Yeah, I'm getting there. But rumor has it, before the game, Joe Namath made a deal with the devil and sold his soul to win the Super Bowl. That is like a common rumor in the NFL, because in interviews, like Joe Namath is like, no, we're going to win. And everybody's like, what? But yeah, other cool things about that game. Starting quarterback for the Colts was Earl Morrall. He throws 3 interceptions, and then they have to bring in Johnny Unitas, who also stinks in this game. Joe Namath didn't even throw a touchdown. It was all Matt Snell.
Wait, this is when Unitas guaranteed a Super Bowl, correct?
Joe Namath guaranteed the Super Bowl.
I mean, yeah, Joe Namath.
Yeah,
After
he sold his
was
soul to
out boozing hard as fuck the night before, like
In his
being a
fur coat.
psycho.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying he made that deal.
He
But yeah,
popped up on some kratom and talked to the devil.
so yeah, some Zay Jones stuff. But that was
Johnny Unitas is one of Bull's favorite quarterbacks of all time.
Also a Pittsburgh native.
oh,
Berg's got a lot of good players, dude.
Bull probably likes his buzz cut.
There's
But,
got a lot of good quarterbacks out of the Berg.
Berg backs.
So those are the lists. Now it's time. Everybody's excited. It's the finals of the
This is quite the way to end the podcast.
The championship.
Yeah, the championship. So in the biggest nasty bracket, it has boiled down to Dirty Ndamukong Suh and Stompakong Suh versus big, sweaty, running down the field for that pick six or scoop and score, whatever it was, Linval Joseph. The numbers are in. We have a winner. We have a biggest nasty. Austin, you look like you know the numbers.
Yeah, I mean, right now, it's looking like Linval Joseph took the L on this one, and Big and Stompakong Suh's coming home with the biggest nasty trophy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, we'll definitely have to make Sue a T-shirt, send it to him, try to get him on the cast, have him talk about his glorious victory here.
So is this the biggest nasty, like, overall?
This is the biggest nasty in the NFL, is Ndamukong Suh.
We narrowed this down from one of every 32 teams.
Jack, have you been voting? Have you seen the bracket?
I voted, but I have to say, okay, I like Ndamukong Suh. I think and I also like Linval Joseph, honestly. It's a good one. But Aaron Donald is the biggest nasty.
Aaron Donald's not nasty. Aaron Donald's the best football player in the NFL, but he probably
He'll
smells.
rip your head off.
He sure will, but Aaron Donald probably smells good. He's probably really nice, like, outside of the game. Ndamukong Suh.
Dude.
Aaron Donald would never stomp on somebody's nuts.
100% he would if he had to.
I don't
The thing is, who didn't have to.
We're considering some dirt. We're considering dirtiness too.
It's the biggest nasty. It's the biggest, the grossest, the smelly guy you don't want to line up across from.
Probably
Yeah.
snores.
And they're just
Snuffles
gonna
a little bit.
and they're gonna hurt you in the trenches, Jack.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get out of the game.
Yeah. All right. Well, Sue wins that.
Yeah,
I guess.
exactly. Jack, I think Aaron Donald is the best pound for pound, whatever, regardless of position.
I'm
Player
trying to
in
think
the
who's
NFL.
just as nasty in the trenches. I think. Yeah. Talking about just nasty guy. I mean, I think J.J. Watt might be just as nasty.
I don't even think J.J. Watt made the bracket.
Don't even make the bracket, dude.
He's a nasty boy.
He may be a nasty boy, but that concludes our first bracket. Hope you guys liked it. Do you guys think we should
Definitely.
reveal the next one?
Yeah, definitely reveal the next one. And I continue to encourage. So I need some categories to, because then I can really narrow it down.
Yeah,
I
I mean, Jack,
categories
I'll tell you the next one right now.
Big, nasty, and then it's like subcategories of how they become the big nasty. But like I do agree with you. And Ndamukong Suh, he'd probably bite your nose off if you didn't have
He
him.
looks like an ogre from Lord of the Rings. Ndamukong Suh, your Bro Football Focus's biggest nasty. But next,
Congratulations, Ndamukong.
yeah, congrats. Next bracket, plain and simple, easy to understand. Who in the NFL has the sweetest seps?
Biceps.
Biceps. We're talking
That's
about
the next one.
Yeah. Who has the sweetest seps?
Jack, we already got quite a list going right
We
now.
got quite a list going.
Give me a little bit of the rundown. Give me a
Yeah,
little bit of the rundown.
I don't know if we can do that on the show. We can do it when we stop recording. We can tell you.
Sample. Give us a little sample.
Yeah, give me a sample one.
Everton Griffin. He's a free agent right now, but he's got some absolutely sick seps.
Yeah, he's got some hawks on him.
He's not the top dog, but and we could even, James Conner, he looks like he's been shooting up the
He
gym
looked
recently.
fucking yoked. I'm
Yeah,
not gonna
his
lie.
back looks really crazy.
I'm thinking he's going to get some random PED tests.
He looks like a fucking Ninja Turtle. There's a giant shell on his back.
Yeah. He did. Connor looked yoked for
I
sure.
saw someone take his back and then hold up a Dorito over it, and it lined up perfectly.
That's what
Austin, I don't think we can add Everson Griffin to the
Yeah.
list if he's
I
not
was-
on the team.
I was just giving an example. I didn't want to spoil. If I named who I was thinking, it would probably ruin the whole bracket.
Yeah, no, we can't do anything live on the cast.
There's,
All right.
there's one of the guy who
All
really
right.
stands out above everybody else.
You'll have the two.
I better see some fucking fire ass arms.
But yeah, that was it for episode 7, I guess. Jack, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciated having you here. I think you had some great takes.
Boys, I appreciate you guys having me on. I thought it was a fantastic podcast. Just great stuff. Very funny. I love just fucking bullshitting about football just like any other guy. So it was definitely an awesome experience. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. And that, if anything, is probably a perfect definition of what this show is all about. But you can find us on Instagram at Bro Football Focus, on Twitter, which I'm not really doing that much anymore for some reason, but it's at Bro Football Focus with 1 L.
We'll get on there eventually.
Yeah. And the YouTube, once again, it is just Bro Football Focus. You will instantly get directed to Pro Football Focus. Make sure you click, yes, I was looking for Bro Football Focus.
It's in small text, kind of where the Google "Did you mean XYZ" is. But if you're watching this, you
I
found it.
already found it. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, so like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends. So hopefully we can get Ndamukong Suh on so he can accept his award.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. But until next time, see ya.